Welcome back to Elder Wolf MTG, everybody. Glad that you're here. We're going to be opening some packs today. We have, I believe, 24 packs here, mostly of Foundations and Duskmourn, but a little bit of some other ones as well. So let's go ahead and open some packs and talk about the rares that we have in them and what would we do if we were playing a draft version and this open pack one, pick one. And this is Consuming Aberration. I really like this card a lot, especially in limited 5 mana, and then its power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your opponent's graveyards. Notice it's cards, not like creatures or instants or sorceries, just cards. And then whenever you cast a spell, each opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a land, and then they put those cards into their graveyard. So sometimes it basically mills one, and sometimes it could mill 2, 3, 4, 5 even. And yeah, it gets really crazy as you go forward. Yeah, it's a fun one. I would definitely pick this one, pack one, pick one. But some good ones. Tatiova's great. Stab was great for Foundations. But yeah, let's go to the next pack here. Sky Knight Squire, very good card. And if you don't deal with it, it basically becomes a big flyer. And yeah, you kind of need to get rid of this pretty quickly. Excellent pack one, pick one. Go ahead and grab it if you see it and you're playing limited. Again, I think I've mentioned this before. The Treetop Snare Spinner in Foundations limited, sealed, and draft is an amazing common. Any kind of board stall state, this thing just puts in so much work. Super happy to pick up one of these to even into a draft. All right, let's go to the next pack. All right, Zool. This one, not sure if I would do pack one, pick one. I mean, it's got a great ability in that you just tap it at instant speed and you can cast a zombie creature card from your graveyard this turn, but you've got to have zombies. And there are some zombies in Foundations, but pack one, pick one, depending on the pack, I probably wouldn't, but if you had like good hard removal or burn, I would probably choose that over this. But if you wanted to try to force zombies, then of course you can go for it. But you really need probably 6+ other zombies to make this one worth your while. And sometimes the cards just don't flow that way, so it's kind of a risk if you take it pack one, pick one. Now, if you've chosen lots of zombies along the journey and then you open this in pack 2 or 3, you will be extremely happy. Great payoff, but yeah, not something that you're probably going to pick pack one, pick one. Slagstorm, 3 mana sorcery, and you choose one. It either deals 3 damage to each creature or it deals 3 damage to each player. Usually you want to do it for the first mode. It's kind of a mini board wipe. Very useful for lots of little 1, 2, 3 toughness creatures in this format. So yeah, it's a really good one to have. But of course, if you're like red and like red-white or anything, then it could also hurt you as well. So I don't know. Very likely you could go and pick it, but it's puts you into double red out of the gate because it's 2 reds and then a colorless. That's tough for your pack one, pick one. I seem to think this would be like you're already in red. You open this pack 2 or late pack 1. I don't know if it would wheel that far. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm in red for sure. Then this one becomes a super, super solid pick. Also interesting, this is my first one of the Billowing Shriekmass. I've opened quite a few Foundations packs. Anyway, that's an interesting one. I didn't know that would be my first. I thought I had one of pretty much everything except rares and mythics in this one. Okay, got a gold card. I will definitely take it. There's a few cards that I would like to turn in for my constructed time on the side. Tiny Bones. This version of Tiny Bones is a 2 mana 1/3. Whenever an opponent discards a card, you exile it from their graveyard with a stash counter on it, and then during your turn, you may play cards that you do not own with stash counters on them from exile, and mana of any type can be spent to cast those spells, and then Tiny Bones has the 4 mana activated ability to tap himself, and each opponent discards a card, and you can only do that as a sorcery speed. I mean, good long-term value for sure. It's tough. I don't know about pack one, pick one, but it's more of a value card, and so it's not a bomb. but if a game goes long and you have tiny bones on the field and they can't deal with it, it will eventually get you some value. But also in the late game, your opponent's going to try to empty their hand as fast as they can because of his ability. So yeah, probably wouldn't pick it pack one, pick one unless there was just nothing else in the pack. But you know, you could try to force it. All right. Omniscience. I think we've had this one before in limited for draft and sealed, pretty much unplayable. 10 mana is a lot, and you're locked into triple blue to even get there. Now in constructed, this is a whole nother story. There's many ways that you can basically get this back from your graveyard for free or for very cheap and super powerful. But in limited, I think you pass this one up unless you're just looking to grab a mythic rare for your constructed fodder. All right. Preposterous Proportions, 7 mana sorcery, and all your creatures get +10/+10 and vigilance. It's important to note that they do not get trample. And so obviously if one creature gets through, it's going to, assuming that it's like a 1 power, you can get 11 damage off from this if you go wide, but not a pack one, pick one for me. 7 mana is a lot, and you got to be hard green to go into this, but if for some reason you pick this in a heavy green deck and you got to cast it when you had a couple of creatures that couldn't be blocked, well, yeah, you're going to win the game. So in that sense, it's kind of fun, but definitely not pack one, pick one for me. I'd probably actually go Fiery Annihilation, such a much better and versatile card. All right, next pack here. Okay, well, take a Mythic Wild card. Sure, we will do that. Abyssal Harvester, 3 mana, 3/2, and then tap it at instant speed, and you exile a target creature card from any graveyard that was put there this turn. So basically, I mean, it's not necessarily only after combat, but probably many times after combat. Then before the end of turn, you can use this, and you create a token that's a copy of that creature, and it's a nightmare in addition to its other types, and then exile all other nightmare tokens, notably tokens, not just creatures that you control. So you basically can keep exchanging the creature that you've made it a copy of if you get like a better creature to do this ability against. Yeah, very good one. Definitely tons of value on this one. It's instant speed, which is super helpful, and it's any graveyard, which is super helpful. Now, notably, you can only have a single copy of a nightmare token, but again, you can choose what you want to use this on. So, yeah, I would pick this pack one, pick one. Lots of value here. Puts you in black, but black has great removal, so I would definitely look at going into that one if that was in my opening pack. Okay, we're going to Duskmourn now. Last draft I did went very, very well. And this one is a bomb. Valgavoth's Onslaught, green plus XX. And so the way the cards like this work is X has to be the same. So if you do 1, then it's 1 colorless, and a green. And then you manifest Dread in this example 1 time. And then you put 1 counter on each of those creatures. So for 3, you get a single 3/3 manifest Dread face down creature. And then if it's 2, you pay basically 5 mana for 2 4/4s. And then if it's 3, you pay 7 mana for basically 3 5/5s. And so even at the 5 mana, the 2 4/4s, or even at 7 mana, 3 5/5s, with the potential of some of them being creatures that you can then flip and have those counters on it, is ridiculous. This one can win you some games pretty easily. A lot of words to say, yes, you see this, pick it up. It's a bomb. You would not regret picking it up. Okay, another Duskmourn pack. Reluctant Role Model. Wow, first here. Interesting. I did have quite a few Duskmourn as well. This one's really good. 2 mana, 2/2, survival, and your second main phase after combat, basically, if this is tapped, you can choose to put a flying lifelink or a 1/1 counter on it, and then whenever the role model or another creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, put those counters in up to 1 target creature. So a couple things about this. If you think about it, you drop it on turn 2. If it gets tapped or you attack with it as tapped and they can't block it or kill it, then you can make it have flying, and then it's really hard for them to block without obviously a flyer. Then you can do lifelink or 1/1 counter. And this keeps happening, but then the second mode is really where this thing gets powerful if you have it in the right deck, specifically with counters. So notice that whenever it or another creature you control dies, it's not just the role model. If it had any kind of counters on it, then you put those counters up to one target creature. So you can basically, with this one on the battlefield, you in essence never lose the counters that are on your creatures. You can keep moving them around if they die. You can do some really cool shenanigans with that, but just it's such a value card. Over the course of a game in a deck with a lot of counters that you can put on creatures, this card becomes an absolute bomb. And you want to spread your counters around and not necessarily go all in on one. And it's just crazy. So yes, it is kind of slow, if you will, early, but it can turn into a big beast as the game goes on with the right deck. All that to say, yes, pick this up, pack one, pick one. Really, really good card. Dustmourn, House of Horror, another pack. Yeah, okay, sure, we'll take rare lands, not a big deal. Really good. I definitely wouldn't pick them pack one, pick one, but always good to have rare lands in the collection. Central Elevator. So this is the one in Promising Stairs that you can win the game if there are 8 or more different names among unlocked doors of rooms you control. And so yeah, pack one, pick one. If you want to have fun in a draft, and this is pack one, pick one, this, like, you need to kind of make that decision out of the gate. And so if you open this pack one, pick one, yes, and you want to have fun with the room deck, which is red-blue in Duskmourn, go for it. If you're not going to do the room deck, then just pass this along and choose something else like Fear of Burning Alive, which is amazing. But yes, it's a fun one if you get to do it. I have not personally done it, but I've seen it done, and it looks like a fun deck to build if you can actually get it to wheel your way. Ooh, Chainsaw. Very good equipment. Yes, I would pick this up. Pack one, pick one. When it enters, it's basically 3 damage up to 1 target creature. And then when 1 or more creatures die, you put a rev counter on Chainsaw, and basically it bumps the power of whatever it's equipped to, where X is the number of rev counters on it. So the more things die, the more rev counters you get, and the better this equipment gets. It turns your 1/1s into, 4/1s, 5/1s, 6/1s as the game goes on, which is ridiculous. So yes, pick this up. This thing has life, long life, if you will. It keeps just getting better and better as the game goes longer. So go ahead and pick that up. You won't regret it. Let's see, next one. Leyline, Mutation. This is the one, yeah, not for limited at all. This is total construction fodder. Yeah, just pass this one in limited. There's some cool stuff in construction you can do, but no, go ahead and pass that one right along. Let's go to another pack. Mine Skinner. This is a fun one. I mean, it's basically your blue. It's right, 3 islands to cast it. It's a 10/1. It cannot be blocked. And then if a source you control would deal damage to an opponent, basically they don't take that damage, but you milled that many cards of the damage taken. So it's not just this card, right? This is any combat or any damage basically mills them. So if you want to go for a blue unblockable or flying mill plan, that's kind of fun, pick it up. But you're kind of dedicating yourself to blue if you do this. So pack one, pick one. I mean, maybe. But yeah, you can kind of get locked in on something that maybe you shouldn't if you go with Mind Skinner. But in fact, I did draft a Mind Skinner. I can't remember if it was pack one, pick one, but it was pretty early, and I ended up not playing it just because I got much better cards down the line in different colors. So yeah, don't get locked in on something like this just because you've taken it. But if you can make it work, this is a crazy card, that's for sure. All right, last one at Duskmourn. Marvin Murderous Mimic. Oh man, I can't even speak. 2 mana 2/2, and it has all activated abilities of creatures you control that do not have the same name as this creature. So activated abilities, yeah, something that you have to choose to do. They're not triggered by a state or an event. Like, you have to activate it. So, I mean, in the right deck, it can be crazy because you can basically have 2 instances of the same ability, but I think it's more constructed fodder, actually. It's really good for Delirium because it is a artifact creature. So if you want a 2 mana 2/2 that's just an artifact creature to enable Delirium potentially, sure, go and pick it up, but I wouldn't pick this pack 1, pick 1. All right, our long Bloom Burrow pack in this opening. Cruel Claws. Heist, 2 mana sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand, and you can choose a non-land card from it and exile that card. And if you gift a card to the opponent, then you can cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast it. Yeah, it's really good. Very good card. You can get rid of something good in their hand, and then if you choose to gift the card when you cast it, then you can play it yourself later. I would probably choose this. And we'll see how that, if that would play out. But yeah, I would probably choose it. All right, now we're going to Outlaws of Thunder Junction. A couple of packs here. Free Strider Lookout. Good, very good value card. 3 mana, 3/3 reach. Just good value automatically there. And then whenever you commit a crime, you look at the top 5 of your library, and you may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped. And it only triggers once each turn. So it just is kind of a ramper, but just value. You're just thinning your deck, and you're adding more lands just by having this on the battlefield. So I really like this card when I played Outlaws of Thunder Junction. I would go ahead and pick this one up for sure. So there you go. Skewer the Critics is good. Sorcery Speed, as of note. I think I played this a long time ago I tried to play it and was thinking it was instant, but it is sorcery, but still a very good card. All right, one more pack of Outlaws. The Stoic Sphinx, the 4 mana 5/3 flash flyer, very typical of a Sphinx card, and this has hexproof as long as you have not cast a spell this turn. So if you don't do anything, it has hexproof, it has flying. They can't really use spells to get rid of it or abilities, so you can kind of win the game on this. Definitely a pack 1, pick 1. Very powerful card, especially on flash, because you can put it in at the end of their turn, and they don't have a flyer or reach, then basically they can they can't do anything unless they can block it. So yeah, very good card. Would definitely take that one. Birders. Okay, let's see here. The Conspiracy Unraveler, 7 mana 6/6 flyer, and you may collect evidence 10 rather than pay the mana cost for spells you cast. In limited, I mean, this is very good. It's a 6/6 flyer, so that's a win con on its own. And evidence 10, over the course of a game, you can maybe, cast some couple other, high mana cost spells without paying their mana cost, so you can kind of like push out some spells in the late game. But I don't know, 7 mana is a lot. It's a win con, so if you want to go ahead and pack 1, pick 1 for a win con, go for it. Not so convinced, but I never played this set, so maybe in this set, maybe this is just one of those bombs that you absolutely have to have. So there's me speaking a lot of ignorance there, but who knows, maybe it's just like you got to snatch that up immediately. But very good card. I don't know if I would snatch it immediately. Here's the Niv Mizzet. You can see the 5 mana, 1 of each color, 6/6 flying hexproof and multicolored, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, it deals X damage to any target. Target player draws X cards, you gain X life, where X is the number of different color pairs among permanents you control that are exactly 2 colors. I think this is kind of a gimmicky, fun, limited, draft build-around card, but probably more for constructed fodder, if anything. Yeah, I don't think I would be choosing this for 5 colors, but again, never played the set. Maybe this is a little bit easier to pull off than I'm giving it credit for. But yeah, it would be a fun try to force build around it if you pack 1, pick 1 for sure. All right, and our last pack is Dominaria United. Ooh, oh, that's the alchemy version. I was like, wait, I don't understand what's going on here. Okay, so Rada's Firebrand, 2 mana 3/1. When it attacks target creature defending player's controls with power less than Rada's Firebrand's power cannot block this turn. And for 6 mana at instant speed, you get, this one gets +2/+2, and this ability costs 1 less to activate for each basic land type among lands you control. very good card, very aggressive card. And yeah, for like a red aggressive deck, this is the type of card you want. So I absolutely would pick this up. Pick one if you think you're going to go aggressive. Go ahead and do it. Okay, that is all the packs we have for this time. Thanks for watching. If you learned something, you appreciate the content, go ahead and like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And we'll come back with some new content in the very near future. Thanks, everybody.